All right, y'all. First and foremost, give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and his son, the Hamashiach, who some call Yahweh Shai, Yeshua, Yehoshua, mostly know as Jesus Christ. I don't want to say this is part of, but this is part of some of the history of One West Israelism or blacks in Israelites in black Israelites in America. I'm probably not gonna title it this though. This is kind of just a history of the fringes. I've clipped out. There's a heavy 3-hour discourse with two brothers that used to be in an organization, well, from the original One West School, and went to the many different breakoffs, went through it, describing it. It's a 3-hour video. I've clipped out certain things that for us to talk about and for us to know. And it's very important. The more I'm digging into this thing, it's very important that we understand, because this is not long ago. This thing really goes back, it really goes back about to the 80s, 90s when it really started jumping off, late 80s, 90s. So a lot of these people that from these splinter groups are still alive. A lot of these elders are still here. And the separation is coming from them. The separation, we can't come together because they can't come together. There's no need for these little minions like myself and other little minions who haven't been in that history to try to bring this thing together, because the elders have beef. And this is what's causing this gang mentality, this Crip blood. Man, we getting into certain things, and when you get yourself involved in some of these organizations, you're taking on beefs and discords that you have nothing to deal with, that your elder is still having, because they haven't forgiven each other, because they're still operating in bitterness. And so there's there ain't no coming together. It's no, all y'all dead. You're not in this walk. You're not in our organization. So you're doomed. And these things are being carried out and carried on. And some of these things that I'm about to, this is from Bezalel. This when this brother named Bezalel that was in IUIC from 2006 until that whole situation with Bishop Kanai. Got himself dirty also, so he wasn't a good witness, and definitely no matter nothing that he's gonna put up is gonna be worthy to any attention. It's gonna shake anything or shake anybody. It did though. It did shift and shake a lot of brothers. But we have to understand these beefs and where a lot of these things come from. And this is just, I didn't even know that, I learned that the fringes is really was beef. The way we wear fringes today, the way a lot of us wear fringes, because a lot of us still do it another way. And I was wondering, where did they get that from? Why do they keep saying that? Because this is the things that were original talk. But let me let this footage roll.
Back then. So leaving out of there, the only thing that gave brothers a sense of comfort that they didn't leave the church was the fact that they were following Masha, who was at that time still considered the king. So as you can see, a lot of it was rooted in idolatry, men pleasing.
And we're going to get into that, Masha and Ariel, coming up under Abba Bibbins, who came under Matthew, Rabbi Matthew.
And really having men's person in admiration because of advantage. And the same thing was said even when you got to House of David. Because I don't know how familiar you are with a lot of the different.
And this is the 12 tribes, a picture of the 12 tribe Israelite church. You see Bishop Nathaniel in the middle here. There's footage of him saying that he was not over this camp, but these two brothers are saying that he was over this camp. He was a leader in this camp and a leader in the house of David. And there's footage of him teaching, showing that he was in leadership in these organizations. So that would be if he was in the original one, West House of David, Israelite, 12 tribe Israelite that he led. And they were saying that it was 1,000+ members in this organization that splintered away from the original school or from the house of David. But he's getting into that history here.
Camps out there, but there were multiple camps that were going by the name House of David. And the reason why that is because there were actually groups that broke away from House of David and started their own churches. One of the brothers who broke away from House of David was Tahar, who now is over GMS. So you see, all of us are bound together in some way, shape, or form along this line of genealogy. So when you look at even that split, at that point in time, it was anybody that breaks away from the king is no longer in the faith. And so on that mentality didn't end until we broke away from House of David and became 12 tribes of Israel and understood, like, okay, now it's all about following Christ, learning the commandments, repenting, and getting ourselves together. But ironically enough, even though we broke away from the churches that taught that, we began to incorporate that same thing in the same hypocrisy.
And you can see here, very few people have on fringes. Almost nobody has on fringes. It's a few. I think it's a few people. I want to say the brother in the blue kneeling down. But I don't know if that's a jersey or some kind of poncho. But you can see brothers don't have no fringes on.
So with 12 tribes, that became that time of great isolation, where pretty much everything set up during those days was meant to separate us from every other Israelite group. Like, that's the times when, of course, you know, back then, the only time brothers really wore fringes and stuff like that was when they went to camp. Your fringes were on your garments. 12 tribes was the days where we were like, you know what, we gonna wear our fringes every single day on our clothes and things like that. And even though it was a beautiful gesture as far as the scriptures are concerned, it really was never about keeping the commandments. It was about the fact, like, listen, anybody that don't have these, you don't have to talk to them. You don't have to deal with them. You don't have to associate with them. And so once we did that, you know, we put our fringes on Monday, and Tuesday it was F the world. You know, we was talking about brothers from other churches. It was like you could walk by them, ignore them, they would salute you, just keep moving. You know, that's how we kept it. And also, that was...
So, you know, initially, he's saying, I go back and play it again. Initially, he's saying that we only wore the fringes pretty much on Shabbat or feast days or so forth on our garments. The garments were these special made garments. We weren't putting fringes on t-shirts and so forth. And you had a lot of people that say that today. Even GMS, he said to Har, who's over GMS today, he's even saying, you know, he even says that you have a lot of people that come out to the camp, they put their garment out, you know, they pull it out of their bag and they put it on when they at the camp. You know, was it doctrine? Was it, oh, we have a better understanding of this, put it on your garments, we're gonna put it on there every day? Or was this done out of bitterness? Or was this done out of, we want to sever ourselves from them, we are going to be holier than them, we're going to be better than the last group? And two, you know, like the brother was saying, we're not gonna speak to them. We're not gonna speak to them. We out here with fringes, and this was an issue. You know, when I was first coming in, this was an issue. You would pull up at a camp. I said, I get that analogy a few times. You pull up on the camp, and brothers wouldn't speak, man. Like, it was almost beef initially, man. It was almost like if a brothers is standing out in front of your camp, it's a challenge. It's like two darn breakdancing groups. Two different breakdancing groups in the 80s. You see that other break dancing group in the 80s and that joker started. You already know. Like, it's beef. It's smoke in the city. And that's how these interactions used to be. But all of this stemmed from these folks out there in New York. And these people are alive today. And ultimately, man, we might have to dig through this thing, and we might have to call a council. We might have to call a council for these elders. Like, bro, like, we got to stop the beef, man. Y'all holding on to stuff 20, 30 years ago. You still holding on to this stuff. You still calling, saying these other folks ain't nothing and they dirty, they filthy, blah, blah, blah. And this is, and when you join this organization, you're taking that on. You're taking on some of this beef, and you're making brothers your enemies that you don't even know.
Tuesday was F the world. We talking about brothers from other churches. It was, and so once we did that, we put our fringes on Monday, and Tuesday was F the world. And the only time brothers really wore fringes and stuff like that was when they went to camp. Your fringes were on your garments. 12 tribes was the days where we were like, you know what? We gonna wear our fringes every single day on our clothes and things like that. And even though it was a beautiful gesture as far as the scriptures are concerned, it really was never about keeping the commandments. It was about the fact, like, listen, anybody that don't have these, you don't have to talk to them. You don't have to deal with them. You don't have to associate with them. And so once we did that, we put our fringes on Monday, and Tuesday was F the world,
And so this is where it started. All right. And it was under Elder Gad, aka Bishop Nathaniel, that ushered in. And this is why these people are pivotal. These people are monumental. These people will be talked about forever. If this thing lasts, however long this thing lasts, or this thing takes us up to these folks will be mentioned because they are monumental to Bishop Nathaniel was monumental to the movement. He's been in this thing. He's been in the one West. He was an elder in that initial school, an elder in the house of David. He was elder. He done touched a lot of people. A lot of people know this brother, whether, in bad taste or good taste, whatever the case may be, but he's had his hand involved in a lot of people's lives. Let me just say that, good or bad. And he's influenced my life because I wear fringes every day. All right. And that's based off of his decision. Based off a decision. This is based off of this information. Okay. And I've beefed with people who only wore them on the Sabbath. I've said certain things, and that's what I've gotten from this. Is like, man, I'm not finna be doing that no more, man. Brothers, if they had to understand they gotta wear the garments, man, there ain't no need of beefing for that. There ain't no need for separation on that. And brothers have came to me too. It go both ways. Brothers also came, why you putting those garments, why you putting fringes on a t-shirt? Why you putting fringes? I even had some of the Demona Israelites. They said, well, why you putting it on a foreign garment? Because they feel like they got the dashikis and they put them on the dashikis and they put the fringes on that. But it's like the dashikis are kind of foreign. If you look into the history, jokers won't just run around there wearing dashikis in a lot of those West African tribes like that. That's kind of new. If you look into the history of dashikis. But anyway, there's beef in it, and they do theirs a different way. We do ours a different way. We put on shirts. Brothers say they only need to wear them on this particular day on the Shabbat. You got people, and then initially it stemmed from just us saying we don't want to be like the little hats. And so we gonna wear ours different than the little hat. Some put it where it got a the fabric meets, not the bottom. It ain't gotta be on the bottom. It just got to be on the edge or a border where two fabrics meet on a hem or something. You know, it's all kinds of doctrines when it comes to fringes. You know, blue ribbon around the neck, around the arms, around the four vessels, mean around the head, the two arms, and the bottom. And I know these things because it's my business to know these things. And I support all doctrines. You know what I'm saying? If you don't like the little fringes I put on the shirts, you want a different kind of fringe, or you don't want fringes on the shirt, all you have to do is tell me, and that'll be the case. I'm not finna beef with you and you go up, you know. Brother was like, when if you know where the fringes gotta be, the fringes need to be 100% cotton, the shirt need to be 100% cotton, the ribbon need to be 100%. Okay, I make it, you know, 100% cotton. You want 100% cotton? It's gonna limit your color, but we can get it done for the 100%. Or I take you to the sister that makes them, HebrewGarments.com. Salute to that sister. She has different doctrines on her. You know, the ribbon's supposed to be violet. It's all kinds of things that we can beef and separate from each other on. There's a plethora of things, but it's not worth the separation for me. It's not worth the separation. It's not worth my brother feeling some kind of way because I have on fringes, and he doesn't. And he feel like he can't speak to me. He feel like he feels a certain kind of way. And I used to feel that way too when I see people with fringes on. Oh man, I'm not. I gotta get my fringe, you know. And I've had people try to push it on people. Well, why they ain't wearing fringes yet? They been here so and so amount of time. Why they ain't got the fringes on yet, brother? You gonna tell them to bring the fringes? Like, bro, I already told them. You want me to put them out?
We talking about brothers from other churches. It was like you could walk by them, ignore them, they would salute you, just keep moving. You know, that's how we kept it. And also, that was the days that it went from Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah Barakazah to Most High in the name of.
We not dealing with Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah Barakazah no more. You know, brothers say, no. We dealing with Most High in Christ bless. Most High in Christ bless you. And you know, if you in the walk and you in this movement and you saluting brothers and you know people are coming up to you, that's what you're gonna hear more 9 times out of 10. I will say that most times when an Israelite comes up to me, they wearing fringes. Most High in Christ bless. We got the same dap as One West. You know, it's the same dap. It's just one says Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai Barakatham. The other says Most High in Christ bless.
Oh man.
But these things were used to separate. It wasn't a beef on the Hebrew. It really wasn't a beef. And those who've been in this thing about 7+ years, you probably seen the beef where jokers used to run up on the camp. Man, you better say that. You better say Yahweh. Do you know his name? Do you know? Especially them GMS brothers. Especially them ISGOC with the Comforter brothers. Those brothers that were under the Comforter. You know, it was some brawls. But this still stems from certain bitterness from separations.
Call fail. Northern, and then the call drop. Nah, man. To be honest with you, I mean, the story's a story. You know, it's just you know, there's little tidbits in there that are like, Like for example, being, you know, recently I heard someone say, and I want you to tell me if you've heard this before. To be loyal to the king and to the king's men. When someone's given rank and raised up, that would be said to them to be loyal to the king and the king.
And you know, this is still Man, you know, this almost it rattled my spirit a little bit. Like, what are we, and hopefully, you know, the King's Christ. That's what my brothers are saying. The King's is Christ. I know my brothers ain't saying that they the king, but One West, Marshall was or Ariyah said Marshall was King David. Everybody had to know him as King David, and if you left that organization, you left the truth because you left the King David. You left the kingdom.
Man,
Wow, that's interesting. Wow,
have you heard that before?
Now, Bishop Kanai, I love you. It appears you got caught with your pants.
And this wasn't long ago. This was 2019. Well, dang, but time is flying. That was 5 years ago.
Down, my brother. You have to go through the fire. You in the fire now, you must go through the fire. Always remember this. An attack on the king's men is an attack on the king. Remember that thing. Oh. Now, IUIC, you know we ain't hunting down nobody. We ain't trying to destroy nobody.
And I'm going to give Bishop the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to give Bishop the benefit of the doubt. Like, I'm not going to, he's just using this as a language. He doesn't think he's Christ. He doesn't think he the king of Israel. I've never heard him say that.
But people are hunting.
But I don't, you know, I'm not, I used to listen to him very early on. But I never, I don't watch him too much as of late.
Hunting us down, trying to destroy us. I'm going to say it again. An attack on the king's men is an attack on the king.
Well, never said like that. Never said like that. But
and the brother said, hey, man, it was never said like that. Go ahead.
You know.
That was One West, huh?
Yeah, that's going to One West. But
that's going back to One West.
But, you know, one of the things that they used to do, like when Gad used to use the scripture, was Exodus 22:28, which was the one, thou shalt not revile the gods nor curse the rulers of the people. And he wanted to put the picture up on the wall back 12 Tribes days, the pictures of the elders and leadership, and have that scripture up there, but, you know, Rahab wouldn't let him.
Right.
But, yeah, because if you start...
He wanted to put pictures of the elders up in the school, but there was another elder that wouldn't let him. And that too shows that he wasn't the supreme leader, because he wasn't allowed to do it.
If you're starting to go into loyalty to the king and the king's men,
of course he's doing it now.
Then it's like, okay, who's the king and who are the king's men?
Right.
Right.
That's a very frightening. That's a very, very frightening statement.
You know, it's going back to One West with the 7 priest box.
Yeah.
And whose classes that they would show up to. I mean, that's going back to that madness right there.
See, you know, we see Elder Gad, aka Bishop Nathaniel. He's close to that leadership. He ain't them 7 heads, but he up there.
So.
Right. I'm asking because I know, you know, certain things have an origin, and I'm trying to see if, because a lot of what I've experienced and what people are experiencing now in IUIC, they all think is new stuff. They all think is being invented as it goes and all this stuff. And me being under Nathaniel since 2006, you know, he told me a lot about what happened in the past. And I think he forgot he told me a lot of this stuff. So I'm sitting back like, hold up. You've told me y'all did this in the past, and I'm the only one that knows outside of maybe the deacons. And I don't have no rank. You know,
and that's the thing we have to respect. Even though it broken off again, he built this thing from here. He built IUIC from this, and it probably wasn't even This was probably once he done got some numbers up, but he built it from this to what it is now. So we do have to commend Bishop for that.
I've been kind of like the rebel that don't want the rank, but I want the responsibilities. That's me. You know, like I just want to do the work. I don't want people to try to glorify me and give me all this fake ass respect. I just want, let me do what we got to do. Let's get the hell out of here. That's like my mindset. Because I've seen what it does, and I don't like it.
A lot of captains want to know, and a lot of officers and soldiers want to know, how do you keep their rank holy, brother?
Shalom, Messiah, Best Captain Gideon. If you want to keep your rank, just follow order. Don't make no decision without consulting your head. You don't have a head. Don't think for yourself. Like the deacon always say, let the leadership think for you. Don't make no decision on your own.
But anyway, I'm deviating.
And that's if you want to get in there and you get inside of that system. And that's the way they operate. You want to get inside of that system, you want to join those those ranks, and you got to stop thinking for yourself and let the leadership think for you. You can't be moving on your own. You can't be doing your own thing. Once you get in that system, now if you just want to fellowship with brothers, you can go to that. You can go to the school and fellowship and come to the certain feast days and woo. But you won't be, it's a reverence system in there. So, you end up messing around and get baited in, but they're not forcing you to do that.
So back in One West, because that was the only Israelite school, it was considered if you leave the school, you go back in the world. So now my question is this: what if somebody was like, "Listen, I don't like how y'all guys are dealing. I don't like this. I don't like that. I believe I'm keeping the commandments, but I'm just not coming here no more." Would they still be told, or other people be told that person left the truth or left the body?
Absolutely. You'll be told that you left the body, you left the truth. How long you been in this truth? You really ain't in the truth unless you at ISUPK. We're the home of the truth. GMS, we got 100% of the truth. We the only ones teach 100% of the truth. And then you got IUIC following suit and other, it's even HOI, brothers don't have that spirit, but brothers have been attacked. Brothers can't really get back with those elders like that. They can't get back with those elders, and so these things are trickling on, and it's becoming part of the culture. It's becoming part of the culture where we have these beefs and these schisms, and we never jump back. We never restore that relationship. We never get to see examples of a restoration of those relationships. To have an example of those things that we can glean from, to show that righteous man follow 7 times. We can have long suffering for our brothers and be able to restore them. We don't see that. Not with the schisms. We'll see that within certain bodies, within the body. But there are things that have happened in friendships that are broken that have been outside of those organizations that cause the splinter in those organizations. And there are certain things that we're trying to put in place, like that Masha Yasharala, where we have these certain elders that were supposed to come together, but who voted on these elders? And some of these elders were brought in from that old school, from those old school ways. So, me on the outside, I'm like, well, how are these folks saying they elders? Where are these folks coming from? And that's because I didn't know the history. I don't know. I don't know what, how these folks, I'm not finna give you no good report. I'm not finna let you judge in our situation or anything like that if I don't know your report and I don't know who you are, where you come from, how long you been in this thing, what you know. But that's because we don't know the history, and a lot of this stuff ain't being talked about. A lot of people ain't talking about the history. A lot of people trying to save face. They don't really want to, hey man, they doing their thing over there now. Da 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 da. We'll let it alone. But it's still sneak dissing. It's still little sneak shots that are going on, and we have to bring these things out, learn these histories, learn these things, just so we don't fall, so that next generation doesn't fall victim to these same flaws, these same character flaws, these same spiritual flaws, where we can begin to start having, at least being able to come together to have certain dialogue on what we can do to make this thing whole. Because even just having a few thousand people, man, it's nothing. This Kamala Harris can go to a city and get 50,000 people to fill up a convention center like that. So like, what's 5,000 people? What's 10,000 people all over the world as a movement? Like it's a drop in the bucket. It's nothing. And so I know we want to bump our chest, but we still got a lot to do, man. We still got a lot to do. I don't know what just happened. Let me go ahead and end this thing, y'all. I pray this thing was edifying. Y'all be blessed. We'll see